Coming up next, we have the details on what local law enforcement are doing to prevent holiday theft. Transportation issues encourage one student to take on TSC administration. And one Texas representative pushes for new leadership after Nancy Pelosi secures her place as Speaker of the House. Plus, UTRGV prepares to have an active shooting drill on campus. And we have a special Spotlight of the Month with our Chief Reporter Ileana Moreno. We have all this and more. UTRGV-TV starts now. Thank you for joining us on this week's UTRGV-TV edition. I'm Marisol Villarreal. You might think the holiday season is a time for family and giving, but thieves may have a different idea. I went out to see what local law enforcement are doing to prevent holiday theft. 'Tis the season for stealing. Though the holidays are meant for family fun and cheer, local law enforcement are increasing patrols for potential thieves looking to steal items inside vehicles.
During summer and the holiday time is when we see a spike in burglaries.
Weslaco Police Officer Eric Hernandez says an increase in car theft happens every year during Christmas time. That's because while more shoppers are preoccupied with their purchases, they sometimes forget to lock their cars. I spoke to Weslaco residents to get their input on whether or not it's important to lock their cars during the holidays.
Yes, it's a habit I tend to do.
Some electronic stuff, money in their cup holders.
Because there's a lot of people who are out there trying to find things, find easy money, easy documents. Some people leave like passports, IDs in their cars, and it's very important because those can easily be sold or given away or anything, and that's your whole life there.
Officer Hernandez says becoming a victim of car theft is preventable. Here are some tips on how you can stay safe during the holidays.
We kind of use the term lock, take, and hide. You want to make sure that your vehicle is locked. You want to make sure that you take everything of value from the vehicle. And if for whatever reason you're not able to, you want to make sure that those items are well hid.
In Weslaco, Marisol Villarreal reporting for UTRGV-TV. Transportation issues encourage one student to take on TSC administration. Our reporter Nathaniel Puente has more.
Some UTRGV students have to take the shuttle between the two campuses every day. It's an exhausting experience that takes 2.5 hours round trip. But for one TSC student, getting to class is a lot harder than that.
That's fine.
This is Joseph Haas, a student at TSC who has had to walk countless miles during his time in college to get to the iTech building, a center that hosts classes for those seeking information technology degrees like Joseph. Why doesn't Haas just take a shuttle to the iTech building? TSC does not provide one. Haas has tried countless times to bring this issue to administration.
I went to the Student Services Center, and they had me file a complaint, which the lawyers completely denied, not even a single apology. So I went to the Brownsville City Council to bring this issue up, and I called the B Metro director the day before, actually.
Joseph walked to several administration offices here on campus and got different responses from officials every single time.
Haas has been sent in a carousel looking for answers. His luck turned worse the more he pressed the issue.
After about a year and a half of this, I got totally fed up, and that's when I went to the Texas Southwest College Board of Trustees, and I gave my speech, and I told them I flat out refused to walk another mile to class. Okay, after I made that speech, I started getting security trying to kick me off campus. I was not getting an answer from the school when they promised me an answer. I sat down by the desk waiting. That's when two of the armed security, private security that are armed, came in to try to throw me out of the office and say that I was trespassing.
There's no answer to why TSC decided to send armed guards on Joseph. We tried to get TSC administration to give their side of the story, but they declined comment. Joseph has a simple solution for this transportation issue.
When all TSC has to do is either put all the classes at one campus or the other, or provide a bus.
There's no word yet on how TSC looks to address this issue, but students like Joseph look to keep fighting until their voice is heard. Reporting from Brownsville for UTRGV-TV, I'm Nathaniel Puente.
Running unopposed, Nancy Pelosi secured enough votes to be placed on the official ballot for Speaker of the House next January. One Texas representative is pushing for new leadership. Our reporter Rocio Villalobos has the details.
While she easily secured the votes needed among Democrats, there's question as to whether Pelosi will obtain the majority of votes once Republicans are in the equation and with a band of Democrats, including one Texas representative, calling for new leadership. A letter signed by 16 House Democrats states their opposition. It reads in part, "Our majority came on the backs of candidates who said that they would support new leadership. We promise to change the status quo, and we intend to deliver on that promise." One of the signatures featured is U.S. Representative Filemon Vela from Brownsville. In an interview with the American Statesman, Vela explains how after 16 years of Pelosi in office, he believes it is time for the Democratic Party to receive a change in governance.
As a progressive young Democrat, what we want to see is more progressive values brought to the Democratic Party, and I think at the end of the day, Pelosi would help with this.
Rubio explains how the Democrats taking power of the House in the midterm elections reflects a change in values for Americans.
We saw how people are wanting more democratic values, not more democratic, but more progressive values, and a step from this sense of nationalism that has come over the country that we saw in the rise of Trump.
Vela retracted his support for Pelosi in 2016 and in April accused her of lying about the levee barriers approved for funding along the border, 25 miles of which are to run along the Rio Grande Valley. Dr. Robert Velez, a lecturer for UTRGV's Department of Political Science, explains the significance of the letter signed by the 16 House Democrats.
That was mostly symbolic. It's not binding.
Dr. Velez suspects that the House Democrats opposing the candidate will change their vote come January because unless one of them steps up to challenge Pelosi for the position, their only other option would be to vote Republican.
If you're a member of the House of Representatives, you'll have to choose either Nancy Pelosi or Kevin McCarthy. That is, it stands right now.
Time will tell if Pelosi will receive the estimated 218 votes needed to reprise her role as House Speaker. In Brownsville, for UTRGV-TV, I'm Marisol Villarreal.
Acting quickly and effectively during a dangerous situation is critical. UTRGV is preparing faculty, staff, and students through an active shooter drill. Kenya Gomez brings us more.
On the 19th of December, UTRGV-PD will be hosting an active shooter training where faculty and students will learn how to respond to an active shooter scenario. This will be a full-scale exercise where the Edinburgh Police Department, the Edinburgh Fire Department, the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, and the Texas Department of Public Safety will all take part. The preparation for this training began in January and will take place at the University Recreation Center, and all the URG staff will be participating.
We do prepare for these type of scenarios, that may happen, but it's important that our community still maintains a level of vigilance, and if you see something suspicious, to report it. It's very important for us to have that community participation in regards to try to prevent any type of tragedy from happening.
The UTRGV Police Department offers trainings throughout the semester in conjunction with Human Resources, a civilian response to active shooter events. Since 2015, they have already trained 700 students and faculty. And of course, if your student organization is interested, you can contact the UTRGV PD and request a training. For UTRGV TV, Kenya Gomez.
Equality for marginalized groups is the goal of one El Paso woman's Facebook page. Here's Neida Alcantar with the story.
A Latina feminist first started a personal blog on Facebook, but she never thought she would have garnered so much attention.
I really was not expecting it, so now it's like this multi-platform thing that has led me to talks like here.
Cassandra began her online blog, Chicanisma, 4 years ago when she felt the need to speak out on things that affect Latinas and Chicanas. Yet today, she dedicates Chicanismo on both social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram, to focus on the struggles of all marginalized groups of people.
I think that a lot of people don't have access to having conversations about what it means to be brown in the United States. I don't think there's a lot of people that have support in talking about certain issues. So I think that my platform is pretty much just a place where people can have that and be able to have conversations with one another about these things.
Maintaining such a huge platform sometimes becomes overwhelming, however. Cassandra is the sole founder of Chicanisma and runs both platforms on her own.
It's hard because it's a lot of emotional labor, so a lot of it is just emotionally exhausting. So sometimes I remove myself from it, and I've kind of learned how to navigate that.
Cassandra was invited to do a public talk at the UTRGV Student Union on machismo in Latinx culture. Even though Cassandra strongly voices her opinion against discrimination and racism, she doesn't think it'll go away anytime soon.
We need to understand our own history, that we need to understand our own identity, that we need to understand ourselves and achieve liberation, and then also try to pass it on to like other people and get other people to do the same.
Reporting from Edinburgh for UTRGV-TV, Neida Alcantara.
Who do we turn to?
Entrepreneurial Action for Others, otherwise known as the Club Enactus, delivered turkey and canned food to families in need just in time for Thanksgiving. Enactus successfully delivered 192 turkeys and reached their goal of impacting 200 Valley households. Public Relations Officer Enrique Alvarado says one of Enactus's main goals is to end world hunger, even if it means starting small.
The reason we did this was because our mission statement as Enactus is to benefit the community through entrepreneurial acts and innovation, to decrease world hunger around the community or in the RGV.
Enactus will soon be hosting its next fundraiser, Jingle Mingle, on December 6th. Here's this week's police reports. On November 27th on the Brownsville campus, a faculty member reported she had accidentally closed a door on her hand. The faculty member refused emergency medical services. A report was generated for documentation purposes. That same day, UTRGV-CID obtained delayed information in reference to a female student who made concerning comments to another student about wanting to hurt herself approximately 4 days prior. Contact was made with a student on the Edinburgh campus who confirmed having made the comments but stated that she did not want to hurt herself. The female showed no signs of being a danger to herself and agreed to meet with the Dean of Students' office to speak about the incident. An officer was dispatched to the library in the Harlingen campus on November 28th involving a non-affiliated male who had been watching pornographic material on a UTRGV computer. The male was fully identified and issued a criminal trespass warning. The case is under investigation. That same day, an officer made contact with a female student on the Edinburgh campus in reference to a harassment. The student reported receiving a photo from a male acquaintance of his genitals, which she found offensive. The case is under investigation. On this edition of Music Craft, our Chief Reporter Ileana Moreno sits down with Mujer RGV's founder, Sims Fuentes, to learn more about their all-female music group.
Mujer RGV is an all-female group made up of musicians from all over the valley who encourage each other to step out of their comfort zone.
For this edition of Music Craft, I spoke to the founder of Mujer RGV, Sims Fuentes, about their first ever self-titled acoustic album.
All the money that we had been raising from the events, we were able to put together to create a full-on album, all made by female artists, produced, written, recorded. Even the art is by a female. One of the girls that sings with us is also a producer, so we were able to go into a professional studio and record. So she produced us. Her name is Diana Tovar, and then we had another amazing artist named Josie Marine come up with the art design for it, and then we all it took us 2 months to finish up everything, and we just came out with it on Saturday, and we're really excited.
Fuentes initially started the group when she found herself hesitant to start a singing career on her own. Now, the group's main goal is to create a safe space for women of the RGV to express themselves freely.
I think it's really important that in our community, women get out of their comfort zones to kind of follow what they love. That's basically what Mujer RGV is about, kind of being scared to do something but doing it anyways. The community really has grown with us, so we've been able to go from a really small event to really huge events that are kind of unbelievable.
Mujer RGV's album release party not only had local performers, but vendors and artists also set up in support of the group.
So right now we're selling our albums, and a lot of what comes from that album, what we make, is going right back to making a volume 2 of our album. So hopefully have even more girls on there, have even more original music, have even more art on there. So that's our goal right now, to save up enough money to make another album.
The group will continue working on their second studio album and holding local events where you'll be able to listen to more of their music.
Mujer RGV's debut album is available now. For booking and more information, visit their Instagram or Facebook page. Reporting from Edinburgh for UTRGV-TV, I'm Ileana Moreno.
2018's final Spotlight of the Month features one of our very own graduating seniors, Chief Reporter Ileana Moreno.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final spotlight of the month for this year, and we've invited one of our graduating seniors, Ileana Moreno, our Chief Reporter Ileana Moreno, and we're just going to be talking about some of her future goals, what she plans to do out of here, and what brought her here in the first place. So she is the president of the Feminist Club here at UTRGV. She is a blogger for RGV Foodies, and she was a contestant in the TV show Top Branding. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
So she's a senior majoring in mass communications, and she's a minor in gender studies. So first of all, what drove you to become a part of our team?
I had always wanted to be a journalism major, and initially I didn't know how to join UTRGV-TV, and I think I had a class with Mr. Mann. That's how I initially learned about it. And then I had a class with Dr. Nick Taylor, and that's when I learned exactly what it was and knew that I wanted to be a part of it. So as soon as I knew what it was and was able to volunteer for it, I definitely went for it, and I learned a lot.
And what inspired you to major in mass comm?
I'd say that I just like the freedom of expression and that you're able to write about whatever piques your interest. You have deadlines, of course, and sometimes you have to write about certain stuff, but I think that just having the freedom to express yourself in that way is one of my favorite things.
Do you have a message you would like to say to maybe those that have helped you here in your time at UTRGV?
Sure. I guess I would have to say that even if, the people that I work with, obviously I've learned so much from them, all of my peers and the professors and stuff, but even working with people who I had in a group project with, you know what I mean? All those things together, I think, have helped me work with other people, learn effectively, and be able to take constructive criticism, and just be a better reporter, I think.
So that's basically what you've learned here. And what else would you like to add that you've learned here at UTRGV-TV?
I think that if I wasn't in UTRGV-TV, I would be way more freaked out than I am right now. But I feel like it's kind of a little bit prepared me for what it's going to be like after I graduate, right?
So what do you plan to do after you graduate?
I know that I want to go to law school. Whether that's going to happen right after I graduate, since it's in December, I'm not so sure. But that is definitely what I want to do.
Okay, so let's just talk about how you started here at UTRGV. You started off as a contributor. So what would you do here?
Initially, I just came in and started attending the meetings. I know it took me forever to do my first package because I was so scared. I was so terrified of interviewing someone or even calling someone to set up an interview. I thought I was gonna do it wrong. Filming, I was so scared that I was just gonna do it badly, and I attended quite a few meetings before I actually turned in my first story. And my first story was the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas story fashion show. That was a fundraiser for scholarships for Hispanic girls. Mm-hmm. So I think even after my first story, I got really passionate about it because I'm able to focus on topics that I want to focus on, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that forever, the advisor, Dr. Taylor or whatever, that he lets us have free reign in what we want to cover. So that was really cool.
And then after you became a contributor, you became a reporter for about a semester. Is that correct?
Yes, I was a reporter for one semester. And that was pretty much the same thing, but you just have to turn in a story every week, right? And then after that is when I became chief reporter, which was a little bit more, but completely.
She started off our website and everything.
Yes. So. Yeah, that was a little stressful, but if you haven't checked it out, utrgvtv.com. We all put in a lot of time and effort, and it's really good.
Especially she's put in a lot of time and effort, and just as a part of our team here, as a part of UTRGV-TV, our station manager is behind the camera right now. We just want to thank you so much for contributing, for putting in all those hours like late at night here at school, staying at the studio. It was a pleasure working with you.
It was a pleasure working with you guys. Honestly, like, I don't know who else would like put up with me. Just kidding. No, seriously though, I think that like not only have I learned a lot through like my skills, you know, like through editing and filming and that kind of stuff, but also just like meeting you guys and building these relationships that I wouldn't trade it for anything. So.
Same here. Thank you so much, Ileana. This is our Spotlight of the Month.
That's all we have for you today. But remember, if you have a story you would like for us to know about or know someone who is making an impact on campus or in the community, you can contact us through our social media or email us at utrgvtv@gmail.com. We have community and UTRGV news for you every week. See you next time.